no matter the location. From O-A-K-L-A to L-B, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports. We're ready to cover some Raiders injury news and rumors around linebackers Nicholas Morrow and Javin White. And the Raiders actually had a linebacker workout for them today. So here's the tweet that started getting Raiders Twitter all sorts of their panties in the bunch. Vic Tafer, Gruden says Morrow and White will be out for a while. Morrow longer than Javin White. The reason why this is interesting is because White left the preseason game up against the Rams holding his knee. There's been actually some reports out there that White could be out the entire season. So does that mean that Morrow's going to be out the entire season? Well, we're going to find out sooner rather than later. But this is exactly why you subscribe to the Raiders Report. Non-stop Raiders updates the entire season long. Plus, it's 100% free. So if you're looking for free Raiders videos for the next 365 days, what I want you to do is look underneath that video, smash that subscribe button, and every single time that something happens, I promise you, you're going to be able to stay up to date here. So let's take a look here at the Nicholas Morrow injury and what exactly this could potentially mean for a player that I really thought was going to be probably the leading snap getter on the defensive side of the football for Las Vegas, even a potential captain. He missed week 2 up against the Los Angeles Rams, and if you guys remember, during their joint practice on last Thursday with the Raiders and Rams, Morrow ended up getting banged up here, and he's kind of injured his knee, which anytime, or his ankle, excuse me, anytime you see that, it's really kind of frustrating, especially for somebody like Morrow who has worked his absolute tail off. A UDFA in 2016, continued to get better and better and better every single season. Coming off a season where he had 78 tackles, became a free agent. The Raiders signed him to a deal, to a one-year deal, $5 million. Like, he has done all the right things. So to see this injury and to say that he's going to be out a significant amount of time, that really scares the hell out of me. But then that wasn't the only injury that's really kind of hitting our linebacking core pretty hard. Javin White, the UDFA out of UNLV last year, was a big-time fan favorite, and I actually think thus far has been a phenomenal fit in the Gus Bradley style of defense. Going sideline to sideline, has looked good in training camp, has looked good in practice, and has also looked very good in the preseason. In fact, White was actually one of my preseason week 1 winners because he was flying all over the football field. He had 6 tackles. He brings a lot of energy. But the fact that he's dealing with a knee injury, he had to leave, I believe it was like in the 3rd quarter of that Rams game, holding the knee. He was in just a severe amount of pain. He wasn't able to walk off the field on his own power. He had to have teammates help him. He then went to the medical tent, and he was in the medical tent for a very short amount of time. Then they ended up bringing out a cart. He had a towel over his head. He was bawling his eyes out, really, really frustrated, which I 100% understand where he's coming from. So what I want you guys to do right now is be honest with me. Obviously, this is super frustrating. I was actually hoping to get Morrow and White back at some point this year, but the fact that Morrow could potentially be losing more time, not really good what you want to see. So from a scale from 1 to 10, how concerned are you, first off, with the Nicholas Morrow injury? In terms of 1 to 10, like 1, you're not worried at all. Mitch, take a chill pill. You're freaking the hell out. 10, you're getting ready to pull your hair out. If I'm being 100% honest with you, and that's what I try to do, when I saw that Morrow's going to miss more time than Javin White, I don't want to say I'm a 9 or an 8, but I'm kind of floating around that area. I mean, you were talking about the starting middle linebacker in your defense, and linebacking is definitely one of the most important things in this Bradley defense. You're now going to have to put a little bit more pressure on Cory Littleton. Sure, we're paying him the money to be able to do so. You have Nick Kwiatkoski. He's also battling an injury. So for Morrow, I'm going to go ahead and say maybe an 8 or 9. For Javin White, it has to go down a little bit, and it's not that I don't like White. He's just not much as a impact player, if those are the right words. I'm not 100% sure at this point. As you guys can see, I'm a little bit rattled, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6. He wasn't a lock to make the 53-man roster. He definitely would have been a guy that would have ended up making the practice squad, but the important thing to be able to note here for the Raiders, and both for Nicholas Morrow and for Javin White, final roster cuts are on August 31st. If the Raiders put White and Nicholas Morrow on IR before August 31st, they are done for the year. If the Raiders decide to keep them after that initial 53-man roster, then put them on the short-term IR, that means that they personally believe that they could potentially come back, whether that's week 15, 16, 17, or 18. So definitely something to go ahead and keep in mind. With some of those injuries out there, the Raiders, they did go out and they worked out Patrick, and I'm going to do my best here, Onwuasor, linebacker. I know his last name looks like he should be a dinosaur, but it's all good. The 29-year-old from Portland State 6 foot, 227 pounds. Did not play last year, which I think is, more to do with him not being all that great. I mean, go back and look at some of his numbers back in 2019, 2018, according to Pro Football Focus. You're talking about somebody that's under a 50 overall grade. I don't understand why the Raiders are professionals at times for bringing in players where I'm like, why the hell are you trying out him when you got other free agents out there still on the market? Now, last week, I shouldn't say last week, a few days ago, the Raiders had Mark Barron in for a visit. Haven't really got much of an update on that. I know Field Yates was the one that kind of broke that down. Now, he's 6'2", 230 pounds. I'm almost kind of convinced that the only reason why the Raiders ended up bringing in Barron is because he went to Alabama, and Jon Gruden just has an infatuation. Is that the right word? Man, really struggling. But I know that they love Alabama guys, but still kind of an interesting situation. But what I just don't understand here is, like, if you need a linebacker and if you want to be able to find somebody that can fit guaranteed in a Gus Bradley system, why the hell are we not going out and getting KJ Wright? If money is an issue, which that's the only thing that I can come up with here. He was a player that's one of the best linebackers in the league still. 86 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, knows the Bradley system like the back of his hand. So I'm like, why the hell are we not going out and getting KJ Wright? If money's an issue, move on from other players. You can cut Jalen Richard and save over $2 million. And if you still need to go out and find more money, the Raiders right now have $2.5 million in cap space. Clear the money from Jalen Richard. There's another $5 million, 1-year deal for KJ Wright. I would imagine that's enough to get the deal done. Since we are talking about money, maybe we can go ahead and get some free money from BetUS. No, I'm kind of kidding. But if you guys want to go ahead and bet on some preseason action, if you want to bet on some regular season action as well, you can do that at chatsports.com/Raiders. But you got to remember to use the promo code Raiders125. That's going to get you a 125% deposit bonus. So for those of you out there that are horrible with math, I don't blame you at all. My SAT scores were literally terrible. So you guys can go ahead and put down $100. You get $125 for free to bet with. Basically, you get $225 free in your account. If you want to be a big baller, you can go ahead and put $500 down, get $625 for free. All you got to do is go to chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125, 125% deposit bonus. If you blacked out during that entire thing, message me on Instagram. I can give you the hookup. So here was a fun little quote from Jon Gruden on Morrow and White, and I guess I shouldn't say fun because it's bad news, but this is what Gruden had to say today. They're both going to be out a while. Looks like Morrow will be out a little bit longer than White, so that's unfortunate, but we'll have to continue to develop our young linebackers and perhaps find another. So as it stands right now, here's what the Raiders linebacking room looks like. I bumped up Nick Kwiatkoski to the starting middle linebacking spot, even though basically the entire offseason he's been working as the backup middle linebacker, but I did that because you guys can see both the asterisks next to White and Morrow's name. They're injured, so I wasn't going to put them up there. I mean, you are going to have to put a little bit more pressure on Tanner Muse, who has been starting in your 4-3 sets, didn't play at all last season. In fact, it's been like 20 months since Tanner Muse has played in an actual football game. I'm going all the way back to his Clemson days. But today, Bilal was actually working also with the first-team Raiders defense. Divine Diablo, the rookie who the Raiders drafted in the 3rd round out of Virginia Tech, he was getting some first work too. So when Gruden's talking about some young linebackers, I really think that he's really pointing the finger at Divine Diablo and Tanner Muse. Now it's time to go back to school. I know we're doing a lot of different things here on today's show. Up-to-date news and rumors, and if this is the first time you've ever come across a Raiders Report video, we're an interactive channel. Like, I want you guys to be vocal. I know that's what makes Raider Nation great. So A, B, C, D, or F, and I want you to be 100% honest with me. Grade the Raiders linebacking group without Morrow and without White. So it's an A, B, C, D, or F. If you're sitting down there in the comments and you're saying, well, I think it's a D, it's an F, maybe you go out and think of some other top free agent linebackers. So as it stands right now, I'm probably going to throw together like 8, maybe 9 names. You could throw Mark Barron in here as well. KJ Wright, though, I mean, he's clearly, and I mean clearly, the best linebacker still available. If you want to consider maybe Avery Williamson, it's a name to throw out there. B.J. Goodson, Leon Jacobs, maybe somebody like, I don't know, James Burgess could be someone to think about. Deion Buchanan. You guys know who Tahir Whitehead and Will Compton are, though I believe Whitehead and actually Rasul Douglas both are having a visit with the Houston Texans today. Don't quote me on that, but I know they are going to be visiting Houston. Either way, I mean, the Raiders could definitely use some sort of extra linebacking help. I know I've been getting on Twitter a lot. What about Reuben Foster? All I know is this. The guy that they worked out today, Onwuasor, well, he's pretty bad if I'm just being real with y'all. So in terms of some players that didn't practice today, I do want to be able to at least keep you guys up to date on some extra players that missed some time. Jalen Richard, he's out indefinitely with that foot injury. I like Richard. I've met him. He's a good dude. I just don't see, though, why you're going to pay him that much money to be your third-string running back. Richie Incognito, he's dealing with a calf strain. Sounds like he's going to be okay for week 1. However, it's definitely something to monitor. Cleveland Furrow, I hear his injury is just banged up a little bit. Niall Scott, that's bad news for him. He's definitely on the roster bubble for that 53-man. Nick Kwiatkoski, the new starting middle linebacker. I've actually talked to Nick personally. He's going to be back up this upcoming week. I don't think he's going to play in this preseason game, but he's going to be ready for week 1 Monday Night Football up against the Baltimore Ravens. Bilal, he didn't practice today, though. Even though he didn't actually practice, he was on the sideline, I think, or something like that, working with the first team. Something like that, I believe. And then Keyshawn Nixon as well. He didn't practice. Now, if you guys made it this far in the video, you can always hit me up on Instagram at MitchellRenz365. I'm available literally 365 days out of the year. It's literally why it's my name. I love talking about the Raiders, fantasy football, anything you got going on in your personal life as well. Please go ahead, hit me up. So again, I decided to make this video because I got some updates on Nicholas Morrow and Javin White, both players that I think are fan favorites here for Raider Nation. Morrow was definitely a player that I was projecting to have over 850, maybe 900 snaps. Shit, maybe even 1,000 this upcoming season because of how often he's going to get used. He was going to be a player that I had a really good chance to be a captain, was going to be wearing that green dot. That really changes up a lot of things now for this Raiders defense. And then Javin White, somebody who didn't make the team last season but was on the practice squad and he's been working really, really hard. He did get some opportunities in special teams last season. I believe he had 4 tackles as well, but somebody that's got a very emotional player. They mic'd him up probably like 2.5 weeks ago, and you could just tell how much he was excited to be out there. I'm really hoping that both Morrow and White are able to come back this year. But again, if either of these players gets put on the IR before August 31st, that means they're done for the year. If they are put on the list, we'll be making a video about it. So make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe. We are also going to be making a ton of videos here for the 53-man roster, the practice squad. I'm going to be live this weekend with Chase Sr. for a Raiders against 49ers watch party. So tune in and subscribe, youtube.com/Raiders Report.